Welcome to the wonderful world of chemistry. My name's Dr. Rhonda Kofelt, and I will be your guide as we go through this wonderful, eye opening journey. Chemistry is defined as the study of matter. So, when we study matter, we're going to look at what is it made of, that's the composition, how does it react, that's its properties, and then what can it become, which are its transformations. Matter is anything that has mass and takes up volume. And it could be naturally occurring things, or it could be synthetic things that we produce in the laboratory. Matter comes in certain states. It can be a solid, liquid, or a gas. You probably learned that before. The solid state has definite volume. It maintains its shape no matter what kind of container you put it in. And the particles are very close together and very regular in pattern. And so when you see a solid, the molecules are going to be lined up in a very symmetrical pattern, kind of like this. If you put it in a container, it's not going to just, go and make the same shape. It's going to stay together because those molecules are very tightly held together. And so it has its own volume, so it will maintain this amount of volume no matter what you put it in. The liquid state also has a definite volume, but it will take the shape of its container. And so those molecules are still pretty close together, but there's some room in between them. Okay, and so there's enough room that they can actually move between each other, and that is what causes them to then take on the shape of that container. But they still have that same volume, that definite volume. The third state is the gas state. And in the gas state, it's kind of like the rebel of the chemical world because it has no definite shape. It'll take the shape of whatever you put it in. It also has no definite volume. I can put it in this container and I can put a top on it and it'll fill this container, the same amount of gas. If I put it in a container that big with a top on it, it'll fill that up. So it can change its volume. And these gas molecules, as you can see here, are very far apart. And so they move around, they bounce off each other, they bounce off the walls. They just are willy-nilly, okay? And so they are very random and very unorganized. So these different states have different physical properties. Physical properties are things we can see or we can manage, but we don't change it. All right, and so those are things that are properties that it's always going to have, like boiling point, melting point, the color, how it smells, and its state of matter is also a physical property. A physical change is something where you change the material, but it's still the same composition. And the great example of this is water. You can have solid water, which we know is ice. You can have liquid water, which we normally call water, and then you can have gaseous water or gas water, which we call vapor or steam. And we change that state by adding or taking away energy. We can physically change solid water to liquid water by melting it, and we can change liquid water to gaseous water by boiling it. Interestingly, we can reverse that. We can cool it back down and it'll go from a gas to a liquid, and then we can cool it further and freeze it, and then it'll become a solid again. So physical changes change the state, but not the composition. It's still water. It's still H2O. It's just in a different state or form. Chemical properties, on the other hand, are going to be conversions of that substance into something else. So a chemical change is where we react things and we convert one substance into something completely different. We can take oxygen, which is O2, and hydrogen, which is H2, and we can react those chemically and we can form water, which is H2O. We still only have H's and O's, but we have chemically changed it into some other type of material. And so since we've changed it into something different, that's a chemical property or chemical change.